Jenny Grappa is one of 10 people vying to be mayor of Anchorage. In our special series, Behind the Ballot, we talk one-on-one with each candidate to learn more about them as people, their goals for the city of Anchorage, and how they plan to get the job done. Jenny Grappa tells me two things happened to her very early in her life that prompted her to walk into City Hall this year and submit her paperwork to run for mayor.
One, I was in a car accident and I sustained a traumatic brain injury. And at that point, I ended up volunteering for the Alaska Brain Injury Network for almost 8 years. Secondly, I signed up at 17 to be a BIG for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and it really spurred what has now been 18 years of volunteer commitment, of civic engagement.
Jenny, who grew up in Fairbanks, currently works for the Food Bank of Alaska. When Jenny was a child, her mother was a professional dog musher, and Jenny often helped her train for races like the Iditarod and Yukon Quest. It's an experience that Jenny believes instilled in her a passion to lead.
People think that running for office is scary, and it certainly is, but I can tell you what's scarier. It's being about 8 years old and having 4 dogs on a small dog sled, and your mom letting go, and you are heading out on a 3.5-mile course into the woods. And I have always been motivated to take on new challenges, new opportunities, and to really stretch my capabilities.
I asked Jenny about some of the challenges facing Anchorage, starting with homelessness. Jenny has served on the Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness Advisory Council for the last 2 years.
The municipality certainly has done a lot of work to, set up warming shelters and to, run the Sullivan, and now we have our new shelter that's being run in Midtown. So, I think that while there has been a Band-Aid fix, it hasn't been addressing, some of the biggest needs, and one of those biggest needs is mental health. So I think the number one opportunity that we have to address homelessness is to provide adequate mental health services for the various populations that we do have.
Jenny believes the way to accomplish that is through public-private partnerships and leveraging nonprofit organizations. We also talked about street maintenance. Whether it's snow removal or potholes, Jenny says a strong workforce and infrastructure are both critical.
If we don't have enough staff, and we have seen that affect numerous departments across the municipality, and then it burdens the staff that are there. It's also my understanding that there used to be several additional maintenance facility centers around Anchorage. And so, with the reduction in those, of course, there's an efficiency that is lost.
At 37 years old, Jenny is the youngest candidate in the race. She's a millennial. Jenny is confident she could bring a fresh perspective to City Hall, and she's motivated.
When I think about the opportunity to affect change, I think about the empathy that I do have, the personal experience that I have, not being able to afford an actual home in this town. Someone who was told that I need to put my name on a daycare list before I even think about having children. To me, those two, just specifically of the many challenges that we face, are driving me, bring me, into those spaces to want to affect change and to want to bring people to the table.
I asked Jenny about the current housing shortage and her ideas to help solve it.
I know that the community is looking at our short-term and medium-term housing units and how that might be affecting the availability of housing in this community, and we know that those units are more of the affordable units, and so I'm interested to see, looking at the technology that Juneau has used and actually addressing, how many housing units do they have in the community that are being taken up by short-term housing and by Airbnb and rental housing for tourists.
Jenny is adamant the many hours of volunteer work she's invested into the city give her a unique understanding of what Anchorage really needs and has prepared her well for the job of mayor.
At the end of the day, what really moves the needle, all of the way, is often money or politics. And so I have just seen politics as the avenue to make the true change that I want to see in this community and in this state, and to make change that is, effective and lasting.
Ballots will be mailed to Anchorage voters on March 12th. In addition to the race for mayor, voters will also be deciding on several assembly and school board seats and 9 propositions. The deadline to return your ballot, April 2nd.